Hey, this is Al from Transformational Gaming. Appreciate you coming by. Appreciate you coming to the channel. Today, I would like to talk to you guys about Sony's State of Play that they had today. Well, by the time you guys hear this, it'll be like the next day or a couple of days from now. But anyway, before we get into all of that, I just wanted to thank you guys again. You guys have been doing so well with the subscriptions. I'm just so humbled by you guys' comments. You guys have been really trying to big up the channel, trying to encourage me, and I do the same with you guys, and the mutual love. I know we talk a lot about video games, and sometimes I yell, sometimes I am erratic or whatever, but for the most part, the community I'm just so appreciative for the community, because you guys are passionate about games. I'm passionate about games, and together it just makes a great environment. Again, I appreciate you guys, and I'm very humbled by the subscriptions, and I would like to ask you guys to continue to comment, liking, and subscribing. Alright, now with all that being said, it's time to talk about the dreaded State of Play. And I know I made a video maybe like a couple of years ago saying the following. My thoughts are that Sony should stop making State of Play videos or showcases or whatever you want to call them, because there's a lot of reasons. But really, like, once I got off looking at State of Play, like, the country's already divided over numerous things, race, politics, you name it, religion. I mean, my goodness, man. The vitriol that you see on YouTube and Twitter and these video titles, it's just there to suck you in. And you get to the actual thing, and it's just like they're talking about something totally different. It's just a mess, man. And my thoughts is that, to me, Sony will be doing the game industry a big service by stop giving State of Plays, showcases, or whatever you want to call them. I'm not sure what to call these. If is this an advertisement? I mean, like, what's the point of having a State of Play? Because all people are doing is feeding more into this thought of us against them. And, you got one side stating that it was a 10 out of 10. Then you got the other side stating that it was bad. It's the worst thing ever. And the reality of the matter is that, look, in my opinion, it's probably a 6 or 7 out of 10, but really, I just miss E3. I'm be honest with you. I miss E3. This is why E3 probably needed to stay in existence, because E3, even though it was semi-divisive, but it wasn't from Sony. It was from E3, and it was Sony giving a presentation at E3, you know what I mean? So it was like they was provided a platform to showcase these games, and it only happened once a year, and it wasn't like year round. They just dropped this E3 on you, like State of Play, man. They just drop it on you. When you do it that way, like, it's just more divisive. When you went to E3, when Sony showed a E3 presentation, you had to come through with your best stuff. And I just felt like, especially now that Microsoft has kind of dropped out of the console race, I just think now it's just like they just throwing some stuff out here for a fulfillment on some type of advertisement agreement, or something. I'm not necessarily sure, but it just felt like at E3 you had to come with your best stuff, and you really only had one shot. And when you came with that one shot, you had to show your whole portfolio. And so I think right now we're seeing the backlash or the downside to post E3. Like, E3 is shut down forever, and it's just a shame, because maybe you had the Tokyo show or whatever, which is coming up again. But, like I said, you just didn't have all these opportunities to like respond to criticism. Like you had your stuff, you let it out, and people knew what you had in the following years, in the following months, or whatever, But you had to come out with your best stuff, and I just felt like, Sony never come out really with their best stuff. They got that stuff on the side waiting, and they're gonna let it out a little bit at a time. And I just think it's over, man. I just think these showcases, these state of plays, I just think it's done, man. I just think it's played out. They've been doing it for like 3 or 4 years now, and really, it's just kind of played. To be honest with you, it's just the same old. As far as today's showcase, to me, today's showcase was a response to YouTubers out there saying that Sony has no games. Like, for real, to me, that's what this boils down to, is appeasement so YouTubers stop saying that Sony has no games. Because most of these games that they showed, I was not impressed. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm hyped for Ghost of Yoti. I don't know if I'm saying it wrong. Yotai. I don't know. I'm not necessarily sure if I'm saying it right, but I'm saying it right now. I'm saying Ghost of Yoti. But I'm hyped for that game. But honestly, that little presentation that they had for the game, it looked kind of rushed. And like the graphics wasn't all that. So I don't know. I think that really I could have went a couple of more months, or I could have went a year and seen a better version of the game. And maybe, I don't know, maybe it's good that they went on ahead and showed it on anyway, but it just looked rushed, man. The whole thing is just put together kind of sloppy. I'm going to be honest with you. The whole thing is put together sloppy, and it's not really appealing to people who would otherwise probably buy the game. I mean, I'm looking at this list, and, I'm not going to go buy the actual video, but I'm just looking at some of these games because I don't want to make this too long. But, I mean, really, the games that really kind of piqued my interest was maybe the Ninja Turtles game. That looked kind of fun. Sonic X, that looks intriguing. They got my man on there, Keanu Reeves. So I thought that was kind of funny. I don't know about Alan Wake, man. I don't know about Alan Wake. I ain't even get through the first game. So, I can't even get through Alan Wake 2. So, Legend of Kain, unless they really change the controls. The controls for the Dreamcast that I had, the controls for that, oh man, I'm not as young as I used to be. And so I'm going to hope that they at least allow you to remap the controls for that. I'm not a Dynasty Warriors guy. I thought it was a Kessen game. I never really played Kessen or Dynasty Warriors. But every time I looked at it in the store, when I went into GameStop or EB Games or whatever, when I seen the demo of it, it looks pretty cool. But, it looked pretty cool back then. But I don't know, man. I think that may be past my era as well. But there's only really 2 games that I was really intrigued about, which was the Stellar Blade, which again, the Stellar Blade stuff, that's awesome. But you can tell they wasn't ready. So they just kind of blended it together, but you don't really know what they got. They coming out with a soundtrack. They already had a soundtrack. I guess they making it available on, Amazon or whatever, Amazon Music, or insert your favorite medium to play from, be it CD, or which they probably don't even sell it on CD no more, but they probably stream it. So whatever your favorite streaming service is, you can insert that and they're probably going to have it on there. So, but yeah. Stellar Blade, the downloadable stuff that they was talking about, that stuff is going to be awesome. I especially like the fact that they're crossing it up with Nier Automata, which is one of my favorite games. I've done the marathon on it before. It didn't turn out too well because of the aspect ratio and stuff like that, but I'm gonna try to get back into it and see if I can get it to work correctly. But man, to be totally honest with you, man, Nier Automata is one of my favorite games of all time. To be honest with you, it's up there in my top 10. I love Nier Automata, so that, and Ghost of Yotai, that's going to be awesome. I wish they would have stuck with the Jin story, but it looks like this one, they're going 100 years into the future, because I think the first one was like, I think it was either in the 11th century or, I can't remember, but yeah, it's somewhere in that era. So it's great to see them kind of going into the future and telling a different story. I just wish they would have stuck with Jin. They either needed more downloadable content to really hammer in Jin's story to people's satisfaction, or they needed to just come out with a part 2 that finishes off, Jin and the uncle. And so even though it was cool that you had a couple of different ways you could kill them, but I would like to have seen a definitive way that the story was going to go versus just kind of leaving it open-ended. I hope they do something with Jin's story at some point in time. But yeah, the Yotai story, it seems great. You seem to have a female character. I hope she has enough personality to keep me interested. But outside of that, man, Sony just need to stop throwing state of plays. I'm just being honest with you. This is just depressing. And, really, the real problem is that, Sony needs competition. Sony needs competition. They need somebody prodding them and egging them on to produce and come out with better products and better games. And not to say that their games aren't good. Their games are great. But they just need some competition. They just need somebody that they can look over their shoulder at and say, hey, look, they trying to gang on us. We got to sprint a little bit more. It's just like a runner, right? It's cool to try to get the fastest time, but it's even more fun. It's more of a thrill when you got two people racing and they not only trying to break time, but they're trying to win the race. You know what I mean? And so that's the kind of situation that Sony's in right now. They're just the only people out there really running. I'm not saying that Microsoft is totally out of the game, but it's just a shame. And every time I have to think about Microsoft, it just makes me want to add more onto that Phil Spencer video that I am working on right now, and that I've got in the works right now. So that video shall be coming out. I'm still in the middle of moving, and the month is dwindling. I only got September, so God help me. Y'all pray for me. This is Al from Transformational Gaming. If you like the content, please comment, like, and subscribe. The subscription has been just a godsend. I'm just so humbled and so thankful to you guys. Please continue to comment and subscribe. This is Al from Transformational Gaming, and we done.